Hello and welcome back to Hidden Gems. Hidden Gems is where we show you capabilities of the product that you may not be aware of, but we want you to know about. This Hidden Gems Screencast is about object persistence. It's going to be a series of a few screencasts on object persistence. This one is going to be about text. Now, what is object persistence? Object persistence is storing and restoring an object. And what we demonstrate here can be used in both our Smalltalk products, Object Studio and VisualWorks. So typically an object can have persistence, often with a relational or object-oriented database. We're going to show you some other ways of doing it that you might find very interesting. So, people who work with me know I often like to discuss things in a simple manner of answering some basic questions like what, why, and how. So let's do that here. So what persistence alternatives are there to databases? Well, we're going to show you one today, and that's a text-based object persistence. And it's pretty straightforward, and it's pretty simple, and it's pretty effective. And it has some nice advantages. So why save the data? Well, let's get back to that in a minute. Let's run some code. You remember from some past examples that we created some stock domains. So let's look at a stock domain. Here it's for JP Morgan Chase company. We have some information as part of the New York Stock Exchange. It's a bank. Sector is finance. We have series, which is nil. Remember we talked about tags. So this is actually one of the members of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, for example. We have series, which right now is nil. And another screencast showed how to populate that from a RESTful URL. Let's run this code. Load series from IEX. So IEX API Series 4 self symbol. My symbol is JPM series. If it doesn't include, if all the stock symbols that it knows about doesn't include this, we bail. So here's creating the RESTful URL. We're going to get 5 years of data. And we've shown this before, how to do this. Takes a few seconds, and we get the results, which is a dictionary, a lot of information. And then we can basically take that and create for each one of those a daily datum. And each datum has the date, open, high, low, close, and volume information. So let's go ahead and run through that. And then finally, let's inspect this. We get a daily series, which has all the data, all the daily datums, the date times. If we ask, it will cache these things here, like closes. Right now it's nil. It will, if we ask for that, it'll cache it here because we might ask for that a lot of times, so it'll save it. So we have a daily series object. Now you saw it took several seconds, and we got back 5 years of data. But what if we want to do that for all the stocks? And what if we don't want to reread that every single time we go and get all that data? Maybe we want to save that data. Maybe we do that with a relational database, but maybe we want a smaller scale operation where we can save that data. So we loaded that. Actually, let's go back to the stock and take a look at that. I can see I have a series now right here, and I can drill in and look at these objects. Let's take a look at the data for a second. So if I look at, here's a datum, close, date number, high, low, open, and volume information. Okay, what next? Well, we want to find a persistence alternative to a database. And why save it? Well, we may not want to load if we do that for everything we have and it takes several seconds. That may end up taking a lot of time if we have, say, thousands of stock domain objects. So how do we do that? Well, that's what we're going to demonstrate. So we'll talk about a few things here. We used a RESTful API to get that data. We just did that. We're going to display that data. Okay, this is from another prior screencast. And here's the data we just got back. Recall we can scroll this. This was another screencast where we showed essentially how to do all this. So here's the 5 years of data that we just received. And we can also scroll it very adeptly. But just to show you, we did in fact get 5 years of data in our RESTful call. So that shows it. Now, what if we want to save that? Well, there's a really nice mechanism built into our products, and that's called store string. So if I say stock series, which will give me that daily series object that we just got, and if I ask for its store string, let's check that out. Let's make this larger. And look at this. Wow. It's basically laid out. I can read it, and I could even copy this, for example, open a workspace, paste it, inspect this, and it will actually recreate that object from this string. So we have a string that will recreate a daily datum, and actually, in fact, this is a whole string that will recreate this entire domain object. And we can simply execute this code and it will recreate that. But there's actually another way we can do that, and I'll show you that in a moment. So what if we want to save it? Well, what we'll do is we'll get that store string and we will write it directly to a file. So let's get the store string we just saw. There it is. We're going to get a directory. Use directory. Let's walk into that. Self-class directory. We have that as file name. And then we use the construct. I highly recommend using this. Why? Because if you ever want to go cross-platform, this makes it trivial. So we're going to construct the symbol.txt as the file name in our directory. And then we're going to create a write stream so we can write to it. We're going to take that store string and we're going to write it to the file string by saying next put all, and then make sure that we close it. And that's it. Now, I said there's a simple way. So from that store string, I can say object read from the store string. And so this is so compact. We get a store string for the object and we can recreate it. And so there that is reconstructed from the store string. It's very simple, very straightforward, very, very small talk, good small talk behavior. And that is basically it. So now what if we want to reload that? Well, we showed you part of that. Let's walk through it. So we get the directory, we get the symbol. So this is the file name that we're going to look for right here. If it doesn't exist, we bail out. Then we're going to get the file stream, and we're going to read it up to the end. And that's our store string that we just read from the file. And now we say object read from that store string, and in fact, that recreates the series. So there's what we've got. We created a text-based representation of the object. We saved it to a file, and we recreated it from the contents. So advantages and disadvantages. Well, the biggest thing is the readability. So this is the file I'm looking at. I'm actually looking at in Notepad. This is it. I can read it. I can see. Say, for example, I suspect that there's some bad data that we got. I can actually go in here using a text editor and change it. So that's a big advantage right there. Disadvantages, it may take more space. It may take more time to recreate from a binary, perhaps, but maybe not. This is very straightforward, and unless it's something extremely large, this is going to be a pretty effective, relatively efficient means of storing things. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you have any comments, suggestions, questions, you want the code, please send that to myself, Arden Thomas. I'm at athomas@cincom.com. Until next time, have a great time with Cincom Smalltalk. Thank you.